All right. Hopefully we started recording at the same time, but if not, let's get the clap. 3,
Okay.
2, 1. And launching into the theme song.
Follow us on FTC Pod. And let us know what you think when the episode.
Woo! 24. Here we go.
Follow us on FTC Pod.
I want to go on record that the word is pronounced eponymous, not eponymous.
Minus 5 points. Apply that retroactively to episode 23. But yeah, this is episode 24. Jack Bauer episode.
Jack Bauer episode. I think I got a theme that I went with for today. I know that Universal was the thrown out theme, but I think I got some ideas.
All right, yeah. So at the end of every previous episode of Connecting the Classics, we one of us declares a theme. Last week I was up and I declared the theme Universal Feelings. Don't know what that meant, but Lee sent me his album first, and it was...
Went with Willie Nelson's Stardust.
And originally I was going to go with this Jeff Wayne's musical adaptation of War of the Worlds, which I just kind of stumbled upon when I was trying to come up with something for the stupid theme that I suggested. And I want to give a shout out to that album because it's like a retelling of the H.G. Wells story War of the Worlds, but then it's just like set to this like crazy music that some guy named like Jeff Wayne made. But I guess it was kind of popular whenever it came out, but it's a good listen. But instead I went with Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon.
Which I gotta say, pulling out another classic hip-hop album.
I know. I don't know why, but I just decided to go with it.
No, I like it. I almost like this more than Chicken and Beer. When I was listening
you liked
to
this
it.
album? I should say Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, The End of a Day.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, 2009, 2010 maybe was a big year for Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
He had a couple of
2009,
mixtapes, and then he put out this album.
His debut album. Like, official studio album with, like, a crazy concept with Common on the interludes.
Yeah, I think it's a great album. He was doing something different.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of mainstream rappers.
That's the thing I feel like people our age forget easily. Whereas, like, for some younger people, Kid Cudi is, like, their god. Which, to me, he was just, like, another guy kind of after Kanye and, like, Lupe Fiasco who was pushing it in even weirder directions and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But, I never saw him as any... And then, like, I feel like his music wasn't consistently great.
Yeah.
But he always... I feel like it is consistently great, but I don't know. I don't know why people lost interest in Kid Cudi. Because he still, like, contributes to all those Kanye albums, and, like, the one he put out last year was pretty good and stuff, but I don't know.
I would argue he kind of got lost in his own sound, his own ego, maybe.
Yeah, he's Mr. Solo
I know it's a
Dolo.
conspiracy theory, but I feel like he kind of got the Kanye syndrome, but his music didn't back up the ego.
Yeah, or like Jay Electronica kind of thing.
Yeah, because I would argue even his mixtapes were probably better than the first album, but that first album was great.
Yeah.
But from there on out, I think he got less and less like hits and...
Yeah, I hadn't listened back to it in a while, and I enjoyed it listening back. It's, like, good to just put on in the background even, and, like, the whole production of it and, like, the way he sings and stuff is all good. And I liked your album, too, Willie Nelson's Stardust. I'd never actually listened to that, like, from start to finish, recognized a couple songs on it, but another great one to just put on in the background and just vibe out to.
Yeah, definitely. I was reading it was, at the time, Columbia was really worried to put it out because, and I know we've talked about Willie Nelson before on the podcast as being sort of like outlaw country as his sort of brand.
Mm-hmm.
And this album was basically all pop standards, a lot of like Broadway hits, a lot of Tin Pan Alley kind of like songs, and he did a really like stripped down minimal cover of all of them, which I think works. You know, he's not necessarily singing country songs, but he puts a nice like authentic spin to all of them.
Totally. And also kind of like I fired back with Kid Cudi too because of the universe. I mean, you did Stardust, so that was like an outer space theme. And then I was thinking Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon. The album cover is like him and his face on the moon, so that goes with the universal. And then also kind of how you were saying Willie Nelson is like an outlaw. I feel like really when this album came out and like that whole year with his mixtapes or whatever, like he was kind of an outlaw too of like hip hop, where I mean people talked about doing drugs and stuff on albums, but they didn't talk as much about like doing drugs and being depressed about it.
Yeah,
and stuff,
totally.
Which
being vulnerable.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, I think you're totally right.
I thought it Kid Cudi and because like on that album there's a song called Higher, where he's like saying like he's like they're still gonna judge me anyways, so I'll get higher or something. Yeah. And I feel like that's like Willie Nelson too, you know? Like I feel like they both have that kind of like judged within their own like genre for being for being different.
I'm looking at the list of albums that came out in 2009, and it's like, you know, Jay-Z, Killer Mike, Fabulous, a lot of these like old school New York guys, Grand Poobah. And it just kind of shows where hip hop was at the time. Method Man and Redman, Freeway, Guru. I don't know, super interesting. There's an Asher Roth
Obama's first year in office.
So I Love College came out in 2009.
Oh wow. Great. That is a great album, I gotta say. Undisputed classic. Maybe we'll do it one episode.
I think there wasn't that vulnerable discussing about mental health, you know.
Which is like because now we take it for granted, because now that's like every artist does that. You
totally.
know? They're all like
all these young SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah, which is cool too, but it's just, I mean, I don't think people really have forgotten about Kid Cudi yet, but the possibility could be there. And we're going to put it down in podcast history tonight that Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon is an undisputed classic. Willie Nelson's Stardust is an undisputed classic. And we are connecting the classics. And I'm going to get right into my first connection.
Launch it.
So in the 20th century, Paul Ekman identified 6 basic emotions. Do you know what they are?
Okay. Happiness.
That's one of them. And also anger, disgust, fear,
okay.
Sadness,
and curiosity.
And surprise.
Oh, nice. Actually, you know what? That's the emotions in Inside Out. I should have known that.
That's what?
Those are the emotions they used in Inside Out.
Ooh, I haven't seen that. I got to watch that.
You should watch it.
So, naturally, I'm going straight into Kid Cudi, Pursuit of Happiness.
Nice. Also, this beat, I think, was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Crush a bit, little bit, roll it up, take a hit, feeling lit, feeling right, 2 a.m. summer night, I don't care, hand on the wheel, driving drunk, I'm doing my thing, rolling the mid beside him now, living my life, getting our dreams, people told me slow my roll, I'm screaming out, fuck that, I'ma do just what I want, looking ahead, no turning back, if I fall, if I die, know I lived it to the fullest, if I fall, if I die, know I lived in missing bullets. I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything that shine ain't always gonna be gold. Hey, I'll be fine once I get it. I'll be good. I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know
it Rat-a-Tat and MGMT or no? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think they're the ones singing. MGMT's singing the
Rat-a-tat
chorus.
made the beat. Because I think on one of the versions he goes like Rat-a-tat at the beginning.
They do another beat. They do 2 beats on this album.
Yeah. And on episode 23, Lee read from Benjamin Franklin quote. So I'd like to start episode 24 with the Benjamin Franklin quote, which is the Constitution only gives people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself.
That's great. Isn't Drake in this music video?
I don't know. There's also like the Steve Aoki remix of this song.
Yeah, look, Drake's next to him.
Wow. The Steve Aoki remix of this song was like super popular.
Yeah, I feel like this really defined a really like influential part of our lives.
Yeah, it's like 2009, going to college, like Asher Roth.
Yep. I remember I started wearing crew sweaters, crew neck sweaters, or whatever those are called, because of Kid Cudi. Like without the hoods.
I'll give you 10 points for that. And for the new listeners, we award points on this show. And if you're listening along at home, you can feel free to award us points and tweet at us at CTCPod with who you think won the episode. Drake is in this.
Yeah, so good. 2009, he must have just done Thank Me Later.
He doesn't rap at all. He's just in this.
No, he's just in the music video.
That's great.
Before he had any rap cred.
Makes me like the song slightly less, but...
Well, that's my thing, man. I feel like Kid Cudi secretly, like, loved the fame. And I think that was his downfall.
I think you're right. The other thing just about this album in general is like it's so depressing throughout the whole thing up until Up, Up, and Away, which is like almost like a cheesy pop song. I don't know if you picked that one for your connection or not, but I feel like that's like the perfect end to the album. Oh, that's where he says, totally. I'll be up, up, and away, because in the end they'll judge me anyways,
I'll be
so
higher.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this defines like a time too of like he was always talking about like doing drugs and like getting drunk and stuff and being like kind of like depressed in this like party life, which I feel like spoke to our generation like at the time that we were going through that, you know?
Totally.
And like not a lot of artists were kind of like talking about that side of things, because like this song has like a weird tone to it, but it somehow works as like it's like you're not going to put it on at a party to get everyone like hyped up, but you put it on at the end of the party and everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, you know?
Yeah. I think he's also, his like approach to like mental health was interesting in that he was kind of saying like it's okay, I'm going to just deal with it. Well, just like sometimes emo music I think is too intense about emotions.
Yeah, whereas this had kind of like a cool vibe.
It's like I feel these things, but it's gonna be okay.
Exactly.
Whereas
yeah, it's not like the end of the world.
Emo is a lot of like.
That's a really good point.
Emo is like it's really hard for me to handle this. I'm gonna cut myself.
Damn, Lee.
Rip my heart out.
Listeners, Lee Robinson said it here on the mic. He said the realest thing ever said in the history of podcasting. Whatever he just said, that sounded good. I agree.
Run it
back. Yeah. Play it in reverse and just says, "Hail Satan." Nah.
I feel like that's what always spoke to me about it, because I was never really had an emo phase.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I had the emo phase, but then I grew up and then I had this phase because I was like, oh, you know, I need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. So keeping with this theme, the track that I went with from Willie Nelson was
Willie
On the
Nelson.
Sunny Side of the Street.
Ooh.
which is an old tune from the 1930s, originally from a Broadway play.
Oh,
but,
shit.
I think a general
I'm trying to get that. Okay.
approach to being happy.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worry on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny
Just talking about
side
being
of
happy.
the street.
Happy.
On the sunny side of the
Can't
street.
you
Happy
feel
is what?
a
Pursuit of
picture
happiness.
back?
Happy is one of
And that
the 6
happy
basic
tune
emotions.
is your step. Life can be so sweet.
Already crossing
on
streams.
sunny
It's crossing them
side
so
of the
hard.
street. I
Weaving webs.
in the shade with those blues on parade. But I'm
Great choice, man.
not afraid. This rover crossed over.
Crossed over.
If I never have a
I love that
cent,
part.
I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street.
I like the line he says, I used to walk in the shade.
walk in the shade with those blues on parade. I'm not afraid. This rover
This rover.
crossed over. If I never have
I'm going to start thinking about this because I usually try to walk on the shaded side of the street.
Yeah, maybe it's time to cross over.
At my feet
I think it is.
on the sunny side of the street.
I also noticed, and I wonder if this is why he called it Stardust. He has a song called Blue Skies. On the sunny side of the street, moonlight in Vermont,
Ooh.
and Stardust. So it's all kind of like,
yeah, weaving webs, connecting his own classics. And actually,
yeah.
my connection is when we get to Willie Nelson on my side of the street, it's going to be Blue Skies, baby.
Nice.
All right. So
Nice.
are you passing it back?
Yeah, I'll pass it.
All right. So we're talking the 6 basic emotions. We covered happiness with the pursuit of happiness, Kid Cudi. But we're going to be going into one of the other emotions, which is fear. What are you afraid of,
Nice.
Lee?
Letting people down.
Okay, well, I hope this song doesn't let you down. Oh, one more question. What do you think of New York?
I actually like it. It's a great U.S. city.
You want to know what Fear thinks of New York?
What?
New York's all right if you like saxophones. And we're launching into Fear. New York's all right if you like saxophones. What do you think of this track?
This is great. So, at work we have this hilarious thread where one of my coworkers challenged us to find a rock song where a saxophone improves the song.
Oh, yeah?
This is one of the candidates thrown out.
Nice.
Because he's convinced that saxophone never adds any like value to a song.
Oh, it definitely adds value to this song.
Or in a rock song at least.
So this is Fear, who, I don't know, do you know much about Fear?
No, I don't.
So they were headed by, their front man was a man by the name of Lee Ving.
Nice.
And so they performed on they were from LA, which, speaking of LA, I'm afraid of earthquakes. And
Yeah, that's a good one.
So they performed on this like local TV show in LA that was called The New Wave Theater.
Okay.
And John Belushi saw them, and so he got them to come to New York to play on SNL. And they did a show on Halloween in 1981. So this was when like punk was still kind of coming out and everything, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess like the whole crowd they invited were like all these people from like the East Coast punk scenes, and like Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat came up, and like all these other punk people. And I kind of want to just, since that song was short, I kind of want to let Beef Bologna play too, because this kind of goes along with the story.
Okay.
Babies, talk about low down stackadoo.
Nice.
So when they went to SNL, they played this song first, Beef Bologna. This is the legend, because NBC has like deleted the files and won't let anyone see them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Lee Ving is banned from SNL forever because there was like a riot because the legend says that Ian MacKaye or someone else grabbed the microphone and yelled "Fuck New York," and then the DC punks started fighting with the New York punks, and there was like a pumpkin on the stage because it was Halloween, and someone grabbed it and like smashed it on the head of like the SNL stage manager.
Oh, damn.
And then I saw in an interview that Lee Ving did like relatively recently, where he said like the night after that, the New York Post called him at his hotel, and he was staying at the Four Seasons, and like the New York Post said, "I heard you did $10,000 worth of damage at NBC last night." And he said, "No, I'm a professional. We did $400,000 worth of damage." And he hung up the phone. And then he said they put that in the paper, and he got sent a $400,000 bill.
That's amazing.
In the end, they only ended up having to pay $40. But anyways, I'm going to pass it back to you. Another just quick thing about Fear, though, is someone in some biography or something described the audience in SNL that night as an actual punk rock audience, not just Mr. and Mrs. Missouri. And that
That's awesome.
Then they said the real audience at SNL was scared to death. They didn't know what was happening with all the mayhem. And then what Lee Ving said about it is, I had a sense of humor, or he said, I had a sense of humor at the whole idea of starting Fear. It was extremely humorous to me, and I think John Belushi saw that humor. So that's kind of plays into what we were talking about on episode 23 of like music being comedic and stuff, and like punk being just like performance art in a sense.
Well, and a lot of John Belushi's comedy I associate with kind of creating chaos.
Yeah, like very physical and just like what the hell's going on. So apparently he was like cracking up on the sidelines as all this was going on.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and like I just love to like the name of the song, "New York's All Right," if you like saxophones. It's like such an absurd thing,
tongue in cheek.
And then the bassist during the SNL and like during the other live performances, the bassist plays saxophone and just like wails on it and stuff. And it's kind of like, and then the rest of the song is just kind of like shitting on New York. There is one line where he says, "New York's all right if you're a homosexual," which is like I feel like could be taken as maybe just of its time bad humor, you know, like if Eddie Murphy was saying that kind of stuff, you know. But it's just gotta point it out if we're putting it on the pod. Anyways, passing it back.
All right, I'll give you 1,982 points for that connection.
Wow, thank you.
Since it came out in 1982.
Ooh.
And that's really good.
Is it cold up there in Oakland? You're wearing a thick coat there, man.
It's one of the. It's been one of those.
You look like you're
days.
bundled up to like hike up do a free solo.
No, it wasn't too bad. It was just really clear. We had gotten rain earlier,
Okay.
so it was a really clear day. So kind of windy. Anyways,
Blue skies, some might say.
yeah, it's blue skies, blues on parade, but then this rover crossed over. So next song I want to get into is staying on the theme of sort of happiness and sadness.
Wow.
I know we've talked about this band before, but this song is really sacred to me. This is Funkadelic, Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts. It's a pretty long song, so let's go ahead and launch into it. And I'll go ahead and give you some of my favorite parts in the lyrics.
Real quick.
But the first 5 minutes is Eddie Hazel just soloing.
Real quick.
What's up?
Good. I mean, never mind.
No,
I was gonna say happiness and sadness.
Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts.
Happiness and sadness, 2 of the 6 basic universal
Emotions and fear.
And funk is the 7th.
Yes. So supposedly, George Clinton in the studio told Eddie Hazel to play a solo as if his mom had died, and he was playing at her funeral.
Wait, you told me that. Did we listen to this song on the podcast before?
Did we?
You
No.
told me that story before for sure.
I think maybe during Maggot Brain.
Okay, so it's the same thing.
It's Eddie Hazel, but different song.
But someone told
Did I?
him.
What?
You told me the story of
Maybe
someone
I
telling.
confused the story.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably said Maggot Brain was him.
Oh wow! I'm gonna retroactively
I was
give
wrong.
you minus 30 points for that, and let it be known, episode 3 or whatever it was, I won.
That's true.
So it's this song.
Unless
though.
I'm wrong right now. Now I'm
Oh.
second guessing myself. Maybe I'm wrong right now. But I'm pretty sure.
Well,
it's this
folks,
one.
Lee right now is having some good thoughts. He's having some bad thoughts. You know, he might be a little scared. He might be disgusted. He might be happy. He might be sad. He might be surprised that he got this wrong. He might be angry at himself, but at least the 7th universal emotion is the funk. I don't know if that's good podcast content. Or you want me to shut up?
All right, you're right. I think I said it was on Maggot Brain. All right, minus 15 points. Take me off the record. It's not this song. All right, so scratch that. This is not the song where he was told to play like his mom died. But similar style.
Similar emotion.
Yeah, similar emotion. So the first 5 minutes is pretty much him soloing with like George Clinton behind the boards, kind of adding effects to his guitar. And then they sort of replay the entire solo, and there's like a pitched down voice over the top that reads lyrics inspired by a book by the guy named James Allen, and it's called As a Man Thinketh. And that's the part of the song that I actually wanted you to listen to. Sorry to sidetrack with that Eddie Hazel thing.
Nah, it's all good. We can edit it out or keep it in. It's great content.
No, I'm glad we got it corrected.
Yeah. And what I was thinking while you were saying all that, can I just say one thought?
Yeah.
I feel like even though there's 6 universal basic emotions, that music kind of explores the unspeakable aspects of some of those emotions, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I don't know, that might be an obvious statement, but... Because it's like, and then one person might hear this and be happy, and one person might hear this and be sad, because we make connections, connecting the classics, but we like connect songs to personal experiences. But also just like purely some songs have like the intention of like, okay, this is a sad song. But even if it's the intention of a sad song, it could be perceived as a happy song. So I don't know, but I feel like I said indescribable for a reason because everything I'm saying makes no sense. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and what I really like about this song is it's the whole the like quotes that they pull out of the book is this concept that you're able to control how you like your reality by how you think, right? And that's where the whole concept of good thoughts and bad thoughts comes into play.
Totally.
Saying like just focus on the good thoughts.
But as I gotta come in with a rebuttal.
Yeah.
Like a therapist who is slanging CBT might tell you that there's no such thing as good thoughts or bad thoughts, and the key to
just thoughts.
Being okay with it is just like accepting that the good thoughts, or like not labeling them and just accepting them as just thoughts that are just in your head. And yeah. You know,
yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's whatever works for the person.
Yeah.
This is my Eddie Hazel dogma.
You know, I'm OCD, so I'm constantly I'm constantly checking to make sure the oven's off, which makes it really hard to finish baking anything.
Yeah.
And I told that joke to my therapist, and she didn't laugh. She just said, remember, Will, we can't control our thoughts, but we can control our actions. Like, you can think...
That's amazing.
Like, you can think that joke's funny, but you never have to say that out loud again. All right, that was my stand-up set over this beat to make it sound better, and it still wasn't funny.
No, that was great.
But I thought it was on theme with the good thoughts, bad thoughts. I thought I'd burn it for a podcast. Great joke, though.
Great joke.
Positive
All right,
energy.
We're about to get into the
believe.
lyrics. So this is where I was going to kind of get into Brody, but real quick, let's listen to these lyrics. Because I think sometimes people that are battling the most with depression need this sort of like positive momentum.
Okay.
To try to offset what they feel naturally.
Like a king, listen to the inner voice. A higher wisdom is at work for you. Conquering the stumbling blocks come easier when the conqueror is in tune with the infinite. Every ending is a new beginning. Life is an endless
Every ending is a new beginning.
Change your mind and you change your relation to time.
I like the concept of a higher wisdom, an infinite intelligence. Instead of saying God, because God kind of denotes like a man.
Yeah, and as we know, you're all about smashing the patriarchy.
The solution lies within the problem. The answer is in every question. Dig it? An attitude is all you need to rise and walk away. Inspire yourself. Your life is yours. It fits you like your skin. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The giant sequoia tree sleeps in its tiny seed. The bird waits in the egg. God waits for his unfoldment in man.
Oh, they said God.
Ah, dang.
-5. -5 points to Funkadelic.
And like I've shown this to a couple people, and some people are really into it, and some people are just like, not my vibe.
I like this. I like talking over songs.
Yeah, it's cool food for thought. I just like thinking about
I feel like anything you say over music just sounds better, which is why this podcast is such a huge success.
In life, the exact reproduction of your own thoughts. There is no chance, coincidence, or accident.
It is crazy when you just think that you're just a prison in your own thoughts.
Do Do you think you gravitate to what you secretly love most?
Aspiration. You descend to the level of your lowest concept of
I also like that
yourself.
one.
Free your mind and your ass will follow.
Oh yeah, I've heard that or seen that before.
You rise as high as your dominant aspiration.
That's on a sampled on a song. Free your mind and your ass will follow.
To respond to your thoughts. Be careful of the thought seeds you plant in the garden of your mind.
Or that's just the album.
For seeds grow
Yeah, there's a Funkadelic album called that. I also like that one. Be careful of the thought seeds you plant in the garden of your mind.
I like that too.
For seeds grow after their kind.
Play on, children.
But yeah, you descend to the lowest level of your concept of self. Do you believe in that?
Who did? That you can do that or what?
He just says you rise as high as your dominant aspiration. You descend to the level of your lowest concept of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I think of someone like Kanye, who, you know, it's like
Oh,
you
yeah.
rise as high as you
Totally.
allow yourself to dream.
or allowed to be
Kid
accepted
Cudi
as true by your conscious
Yeah, or Kid Cudi.
is like could be an opposite example of it.
in your subconscious.
Putting out Wizard.
Blossoms sooner or later into an act and bears its own fruit. Good thoughts bring forth good fruit. Bullshit thoughts.
I mean, you can also get delusional to a sense for sure.
Yeah.
think right.
Like Trump pushes
Take-
a delusional edge.
Yeah.
Kingdom of heaven is within.
I think the average person probably has self-esteem problems, though.
Follow.
Yeah.
Play on, children. Sing on, lady.
I also love good thoughts bring forth good fruit. Bullshit thoughts rot your meat.
It's great. So yeah, let it be known. You don't need to frame your thoughts as good or bad.
Yeah, that's good.
let
I
them-
learned that today.
Let them pass like credits at a movie screen, or imagine that you're standing on a street and every thought that you have, just imagine it going into a car that's passing and driving away.
I'm
gonna start
I've also
doing
heard the
gu-
one
I'm gonna
of
s-
like skies.
I'm gonna start.
You heard of that?
I was just gonna say real quick, I'm gonna start a new podcast that's just guided meditations. So be on
Nice.
the- okay, delete that.
Weaving webs.
All right, what are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
say?
get there.
What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna get there eventually.
All right,
He said weaving webs. I'm gonna get there eventually.
nice.
But yeah, no, I think. What did you say before that?
Let your thoughts go.
Oh yeah. Like I've also heard the analogy of like the sky, and you know it may look cloudy, but if you go one layer above the clouds, it's just a normal sky, and that the clouds will eventually go away.
Wait, say that again.
Think of that for emotions.
What was that?
That like when you have like a cloudy day, you still have a blue sky above your clouds,
All right, we're going into
and the
magnet.
clouds eventually will like move on. You know.
Right.
But all right, passing it back.
But
Thank you for
can
indulging
be
me.
happy.
That song
you
is.
can be happy under that. My point is you can be happy or even be okay with being sad under the cloud. These are all universal emotions, universal feelings. Are you passing it back to me?
Yeah. I'll pass it back.
Okay, so we were talking about fear, one of the 6 basal universal feelings. And I mentioned fear performed on that show, which was the New Wave Theater.
Yeah.
And that was a local TV show in LA that the producer called the next SNL, which obviously didn't happen. But it was hosted by this guy, Peter Ivers, who is a really interesting guy. I'd never really heard of him until I started looking this stuff up. But I guess Muddy Waters called him the best harp player alive.
Wow.
And he made this album called Terminal Love. And I think this song is one that more clearly goes into the sadness emotion, but also kind of with a Kid Cudi-esque approach of the happiness angle. And maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. This is called My Grandmother's Funeral by Peter Ivers.
It was a simple
Is that him
I
singing?
think so, yeah.
Just a sound.
Whoa.
So she
Fun fact, Peter Ivers opened for John Cale once.
No way.
That was my John Cale get out of jail free card.
And then tore out the page. I wept to think she'd mark
I wept.
the place, and knew how
Nice.
soon she'd fade. My mother's mother died, and it's so hard to go the way she did. My mother's mother died, and it's so hard.
In 1983,
Her eyes would shine
2 years after Fear was on SNL, Peter Ivers was found bludgeoned to death with a hammer in his LA loft apartment.
What?
And they never caught the murderer.
she just forget.
Jesus.
So it's pretty sad.
That's horrible.
But this song is nuts. This whole album's great. You got to check it out. Peter Ivers, Terminal Love.
I'll give you 10 points for a new artist. Never heard of this guy.
Yeah, and I feel like speaking on like the personal mental health theme, I feel like my mother's mother died in like when I was like 14 or so, and we were like, she was like close to all our family and stuff, and I feel like that was like my first experience of like depression and like extreme sadness and stuff. And obviously now it's like with time you can talk about it or whatever, but I thought that was a good song that kind of like, it's called My Grandmother's Funeral, and it's like my mother's died and it's so hard, but it's not like it's so sad. It's like this like weird rhythm that's just like
Homage almost.
kind of like really unique style that I've never heard anyone do. So passing it back.
Nice. I totally agree. I had a similar experience with my grandmother's funeral being the first like funeral grieving process that I had gone through.
Yeah. Well, I had been to other funerals and stuff too, but that was like the one that hit me the most, I feel.
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about good thoughts, bad thoughts, and there's a theme in there about infinite intelligence that I mentioned that I liked a lot. And when I was looking at more about it, there's a name that kept coming up, which you may remember from a past episode, a guy named Meher Baba. He's a philosopher from India. He was the one that
Meher Baba.
Pete Townsend named Baba O'Reilly after. It was Terry Riley and Meher Baba. And he talks a lot about kind of a more God-like approach, which I'm not as into. He sort of talks about like cosmology and the progression of the soul, with the idea being like everyone's true purpose is to play out God in life or whatever. But there's a really famous poster of him, which ended up being sort of his slogan, at least in Western culture, which has his face, and below it all it says is "Don't worry, be happy." And I guess he's the one who coined that phrase.
Holy shit, dude. Did you know we were going to cross over with this universal feeling so much?
Wow. So let's go launch into Bobby McFerrin, who saw that poster.
Holy shit. You're on the pursuit of happiness right now.
To write, "Don't worry, be happy."
1,000 points. Great choice.
So this song is all a cappella, no instruments.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy.
Definitely an undisputed classic
Every
song.
life we have some trouble.
Yes. So, one question I do have for you is, it notes it in Wiki that he's singing with an affected accent. He doesn't have this accent naturally. And I want to get your take on if that's an appropriate thing to do, because I feel like this song has been associated with like Caribbean culture because he kind of has like a Jamaican styled accent.
Well, what's his background? Bobby McFerrin's.
I think he's American. I don't think he's Jamaican or anything.
Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Don't worry. Be happy. The landlord say your rent is
Yeah, he's
late.
definitely singing in a like what could be an offensive accent.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Be happy.
Wiki says nothing about him being from.
Anywhere. He's from the
I mean,
universe.
he's from New York,
Okay. Yeah, I feel
from
like
Manhattan.
again, this was one of those things where it was like released at a time where no one thought about that stuff.
Totally. He's the son of an operatic baritone, so he has a very like classically trained background.
Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got no gal to make you smile, but don't worry, be happy. Cause when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. So don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy now. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Now there is this song I wrote. I hope you learned it note for note like good little children. Don't worry. Be happy. Listen to what I say. In your life, expect some trouble. But when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Be happy now. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't do it. Be happy. Put a smile on your face. Don't bring everybody down like this. Don't worry. It will soon pass, whatever it is. Don't worry, be happy.
All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah, I'll pass it back.
All right. So we left off at Peter Ivers, who opened for John Cale once. Oh, sorry. I already used my John Cale get out of jail free card.
Yep.
So Peter Ivers was actually contacted by a man named David Lynch for his first movie, Eraserhead.
Dune.
He contacted Peter Ivers after hearing Terminal Love. The song was on that album. The song we just listened to is on that album, you know what I'm saying? But this is a song that Peter Ivers composed for Eraserhead with David Lynch singing. And this is In Heaven from the movie Eraserhead.
Everything is fine in heaven.
Wow.
David Lynch, another weird voice for a guy.
This sounds like the other dude singing. Is this David Lynch
yeah.
singing?
That's what David Lynch's voice sounds like.
They both have weird voices.
Exactly. Connections. So apparently this is like an early example of dark ambient music.
So, which emotion is this?
This is a surprise because if you die, then surprise, you're in heaven, and everything, and then it relates back to everything else because it's like, oh, I'm in heaven, I'm surprised, I'm dead, but everything's fine. It's like I was on the pursuit of happiness, and now I'm in heaven, and everything's fine. Of this
Pretty creepy. This could even be on Fear for me.
this song makes you fearful. So yeah, I love this like swirling.
This right now definitely sounds like dark ambient.
Yeah, they're like that's Peter Ivers, baby.
I'm not very well versed in David Lynch movies.
Me neither, other than Dune and Twin Peaks. I've never seen Eraserhead, but this scene makes me not want to watch it. But it's a cool song, I think. And that song's been covered by the Pixies and like a bunch of other people.
In Heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, In Heaven's been covered like by a ton of people.
Nice.
And all of them are just fine.
You going on a run? You
I'm
passing?
passing it, baby.
All right. So we were talking about Bobby McFerrin. The whole song is a cappella. He just overdubbed his voice, and that got me thinking about how singing has. They've done a lot of studies with singing and music, and have looked at the changes in your brain, and have seen that there's a lot of benefits to mental health when it comes to singing. You release endorphins and that help you feel happy, as well as oxytocin, make you not feel as stressed. They found that singing helps you feel less depressed and alone.
Ooh,
And especially
I like
when you
the
sing.
sound of that. Let's make this a
Especially-
singing podcast from here on out. Anyways, what?
Especially if you sing with other people. That's where they said they found the most
Ooh.
benefits. So they
All right,
said that like they
1, 2,
studied
3. Ooh, Kevin
Ooh,
Bacon
Bacon style.
All right, I feel happy.
So what we're doing right there is what I like to call vocal harmony.
Ooh.
And they said that when they studied elderly people who were in groups and like in choirs and whatnot, they found a lot of positive results for increased mood. It's almost like they said it's almost like group meditation. But keeping in the spirit of don't worry, be happy, and vocal harmonies, there's a song by the Eagles called Take It Easy that I'm a big fan of. So let's launch into that.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna stone me, 1 says she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. Lighten up while you still can. Don't even try to understand. Just find a place to make your stand. Take it easy. Well, I'm standing on a corner in
Listen to those harmonies.
Those harmonies disgust me, baby.
We may lose and we may win, but we will never be here again. So open up, I'm climbing in.
Good thoughts, bad thoughts. All right, we'll get it on the next one. Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Style.
That's our new clap. Kevin Bacon.
Looking for a lover who won't blow my cover. She's so hard to find. Take it easy. Take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels make you crazy. Come on, baby. Don't say maybe. I gotta know if your sweet love is gonna save me.
I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes after I've been singing and playing guitar and stuff, I do feel this like sense of calm
Yeah, totally.
and like happiness.
Oh, yeah,
that I think
it's a-
music specifically can give you.
Playing music, I feel totally is like meditative experience.
Taps into some primal thing.
I like the banjo in the background there.
We ought to take it easy.
Passing.
All right, so we've been through all the emotions. You know who else is in heaven?
Who?
Tupac. And you know what song I'm about to play?
Tears in Heaven.
E40, Dusted and Disgusted. One of the 6
Nice.
commercials.
I'm really not all that sure about when things is finna mature, so let me find a nigga with a grip.
Shout out to the Oakland Booty.
What's the definition of a lick?
Taking a
Nice.
nigga shit.
Hey, put that on song.
I put that on the click. Back to fucking work. One of the homies just got dusted. Time to do some dirt. I never trusted them busters. Shot him in the shirt. Dead on arrival. Now the town is funky. It's called survival. What y'all wanna do? They got us skunked.
Well,
Well,
if not, we can just
if it was a fifth, we'll all be drunk. I'm heated. The niggas cheated. Played me false. We had a meeting. Shit, post have been squashed. I noticed one killer that a double dribble and set him up, y'all. She likes the money in the middle, play tetherball. Thick ass bitch. High yellow city slicker. Scarecrow crab something bitches. AKA potency pussy fictitious.
She gon' hold them gas, but shit on himself and the phone get real. Pulling out bills, front no material shit. That's when I get the killing shit.
Killing
Setting them
shit.
up and having them catching a couple of slugs. Slugs. Trying to fuck with this savage thug. Pistol popping their ass. See niggas be getting it twisted. It's that bitch that killed you. Took all your money, pilch you. 7 niggas busting the room with their case while they can put on this jammy. All of a sudden they shoot up your attack before you can hit the broccoli. See money and make that nigga. That nigga that make that money. Let them niggas jack him. And that bitch, he macked him. He's a buster, punk ass nigga. Don't know the streets. That's why that nigga naked laying dead in between some bloody sheets. It's just a part of the game he didn't feel. Bitches will kill. Fuck a nigga. I just slashed a $1 bill. You don't know that hoe, man. That bitch can't be trusted. Dusted and the motherfucking disgusted.
Back to fucking work. One of the homies just got dusted. What y'all wanna do? What y'all wanna do? Back to fucking work. One of the homies just got dusted. What y'all wanna do? I never trusted them. Bust the fucking work. One of the homies just got dusted. I never trusted them. Bust the fucking work. One of the homies just got dusted. Dusted and disgusted. Let's let off some 203s on the other side of town. Draw the attention on the other side of town. And wait for the popo shift to change. Ghetto shooting range, revenge on a rebound. War games, droughts, ouch, lost clientele, but I won't prevail by selling a broccoli bank instead of the crack cocaine. So I'm sacked for steal narcotics. When it's smoking season, bitches be the reason why the smoke be coming about the child. With my nigga Pac.
God, can you forgive me?
There he is.
Nice.
From heaven.
keep on calling, but ain't nobody picking up. I think she's stalling. This evil bitch is trying to set me up. Came all alone. If it's on, then it's on. What's my motherfucking clone? Only jealous niggas know it's a war zone. But I'm a man, so with gun in hand, I'm on my way to see this hoe. You know the fucking plan. Can't understand, but the things ain't the same. You can die over these bitches if you slipping in the game. Niggas gang bang, but bitches gang bang too. Give up that good thing and put that pistol to your brain. And you a smart figure, don't have no love in your heart.
Alright, I'm fading it, passing it back.
Alright, so all I have left is Kid Cudi.
Okay, I just
Or you want to go on more?
No, I've just got yours left. I've got Willie Nelson left. But I think it's good timing right now. I don't want to listen to the rest of this. Maybe I'll put it in the podcast, but I got nothing left to say on this.
Alright, so Eagles were telling us they got 7 women on their mind. Kid Cudi's saying they got 99 problems. They all bitches.
E40 said something about a thick ass bitch.
Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, it really is as simple as just
that.
take it easy.
Simple as that.
Just gotta terminate the hate. Gotta terminate the hate, spread the positive.
Ooh, ooh.
Just 1, 2, 3.
Just ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3, baby. Just go to therapy and do that CBT and take CBD. Uh-oh, I'm rapping on the podcast. It means it's time to end it.
Robotics. Tried in some.
Do you like this one?
Yeah, I like this one. It's catchy.
I've forgotten about it.
Catchy one, though.
Robotics.
Made by Plain Pat.
Simple as that, feel simple as. Ask about that, pretty simple man. I'm dreaming on
Which I found out Plain Pat was behind Kanye's career as well.
I can't be a loser 'cause they figure that. I can't be a lame.
Universal.
I feel I love the fame, then I hate it back. Thinking now what I should be twittering. Why big bro take out the hot bitches? Dear God, me too, I like the hot bitches. I be the underdog all along till I'm gone. I will live through a song, I be strong through the haters. It's simple as that, it's simple as that, it's simple as that.
2009, think about what he was twittering.
Yeah. In the interview, he said that they made this song last on the album because they were trying to make something like
Because what?
a little happier. I said they made this song last in the like series of songs that they made because they wanted to make something like happy since like they looked back at the album and there was a lot of really intense stuff.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I think is genius that they ended with Up Up and Away.
Yeah.
Because it's like a really positive song that just like, I feel like it encapsulates the vibe really well.
Yep, and I think this one's like second or first or second. And that was sort of the idea was that you'd launch into something fun before we got into all the intense stuff.
It was definitely a really well thought out album and well put together too.
Totally. Yeah, and he had like the big features. It was just a really good debut album.
Simple as that, it's simple as that, it's simple as that, for you simple as, it's simple as that, it's simple as that, it's simple as that, for you simple as, it's simple as that, it's simple as. 1, 2, 3. As our hero seems to be dreaming in peace, a dark chapter unfolds, throwing Scott into the most eerie and unstable part of his imagination. So intense he cannot tell his dreams from reality. This is the rise of the night terrors.
All right, man. Take us home.
All right. So on an earlier episode, I played Georgia on My Mind already on the podcast and went from that into Lil Wayne's Georgia Bush. So if you're expecting that, you're not going to get Georgia on My Mind again, even though it is on Stardust. And just, go back and listen to whatever episode that was. But instead, we've covered all the basic emotions, which were discussed, dusted and disgusted, fear with New York's Alright, I Feel Like Saxophones, happiness, Kid Cudi, Pursuit of Happiness, sadness, Peter Ivers, My Grandmother's Funeral, and surprise, David Lynch and Peter Ivers, In Heaven. And this next song, it really makes me angry how good it is. And it is, as I already mentioned, Blue Skies.
Nice.
Willie Nelson, Blue Skies.
Blue skies,
Blue
smile
Skies.
at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song. Nothing but blue skies from now on. I never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly by. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on.
So I picked this one too. I'll just go into it because it doesn't necessarily talk about his emotions of how he feels about all these things. He just says, blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. He does say blue days are gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. But it's still not like the happiest song in the world. So I feel like it kind of fits with like I'm on the Pursuit of Happiness and the other songs we listen to that kind of like touch on the universal basic feelings, emotions, but don't necessarily sorry, I fell asleep on the podcast. What's happening? Nah, I'm done.
Sky smiling at me.
All right, should we? What are we doing for next? For our episode in a month.
I think it's your turn to pick it.
First thing that came to mind for some reason, we're both going to be in China.
Yep.
And for some reason, I was thinking of like capitalism versus like
communism.
Whatever we're going to experience in China. Yeah, is it communism?
Yeah. I like
Dictator
that.
capitalism.
I like that. Let's do economic systems. Something like that.
Economic systems.
Capitalism, communism.
Sure.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do capitalism, communism.
All right. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks. Follow us on at CTC Pod and let us know who you think won the episode. All right, bye.
Nothing
Bye.
but blue skies from now on.